Learn how to make organic ghee or clarified butter. It's easier than you think and takes little more than 30 minutes. You'll need a small pan, a small bowl, a clean dry glass jar, a tea strainer or some muslin cloth, a wooden spatula or spoon, a dessert spoon, and last but not least, a 250-gram block of organic unsalted butter. Start by heating the butter in the pan on a medium-low heat. Once the butter has melted, turn the heat to low. What is ghee exactly? Well, ghee is just butter fat or clarified butter. It's the fat content of butter, which also contains milk proteins and water. By slowly cooking butter, the water evaporates and the milk solids cook, then sink to the bottom of the pan. The golden liquid that remains is ghee. You'll see that the melted butter looks all thick and gloopy. Well, it is. And it sounds gloopy too, kind of like this. Make sure you stir it from time to time to stop the milk solids from sticking to the bottom and burning. And whatever you do, don't leave the cooker. No sneaking off to check your email or do some housework. You're likely to set fire to the kitchen. Think of making ghee as an opportunity to practice the art of mindfulness. It's kitchen yoga at its best, with the added bonus that you get to eat the result. Now that's the kind of yoga I like. Okay, now we're in business. Notice how the mixture slowly gets less gloopy? Well, it sounds less gloopy too. More like this. The closer to being ready, the more fizzy the bubbling gets. This is real kitchen chemistry. If you can pull this off at home, give yourselves a pat on the back. And don't forget to stir the ghee from time to time. You know, once you get used to making ghee, you'll be able to wash some dishes or chop some veg at the same time. But nothing that takes you too far away, so listening to the sound of the mixture is a key element to success. It looks great and smells kind of biscuity. Yummy. Good, we're past halfway. The liquid is much less gloopy and ever so slightly opaque. Don't give up yet. About this point, you want to check to see if the ghee is ready. Get the jar and hold it upside down, just over the surface. If it mists up, it means there is still some water evaporation going on. Too bad, the ghee isn't ready yet. Wipe off the condensation inside the jar and try again in a minute or two. Give it another minute, then try the jar again. Okay, this time the jar doesn't mist up. Bingo, the ghee is ready. Turn off the gas or remove the pan from the electric hob, otherwise the slightest bit of extra cooking will burn the sediment and spoil all your hard work. See how clear and golden looking the ghee is? That's what you're after. Perfect. And if there is any foam on the surface, remove it carefully with your dessert spoon. The foam isn't bad for you, but you want most of it out of the ghee if possible. It's normal to see a fine, medium brown, powdery sediment at the bottom of the pan. Before transferring the ghee to your jar, it's a good idea to let it cool down for 5 or 10 minutes. Pouring boiling hot ghee into a cold jar can make the jar crack. I did this one time and managed to melt the plastic on our cupboards, and my wife wasn't too happy. Okay, it's time to pour in the ghee. Get your tea strainer, put it on top of the jar, and slowly start to pour the ghee, being careful not to disturb the sediment at the bottom of the pan. When you get towards the end, slow up. Leave the last bit of ghee in the pan unless you're using a muslin cloth. Actually, for culinary purposes, it's not that important if a little sediment gets in the jar. It will just sink to the bottom before the ghee sets solid once it cools off. Well, that's it, folks. Your ghee is ready to use. Use it in place of vegetable oils or butter, but use it sparingly. About 1/4 to 1 teaspoon per person per meal is a good guide. Your ghee will store nicely in that clean dry jar at room temperature if you put the lid on tightly and only use a clean dry spoon when taking the ghee.